guys, welcome back. This is Rob from Black Label Miniatures. This week we are painting up Sister Tariana Palos from the Sisters of Battle for Warhammer 40K. After assembling and priming the mini, I'm going to be starting off with her sash with a mixture of matte black and pure red by Army Painter. Even though the red has some black in it, if you thin your paints down properly, it will still take a couple of coats for nice even coverage here. After that, we might as well do the power armor in a base of matte black. Just do your best not to get this onto the red sash, as it might be a little bit hard to cover up. And as always, remember to thin your paints down with some water or other medium. The bolter gun will be done in gunmetal. Besides the 2 frag grenades on her hip and the pistol in the holster, I think that was about it for the gunmetal. I'll be using fur brown on all the leather sections, which are the pouches, the gun holster, and her belt. For the parchment pieces on the purity symbols, I'll be using some mummy robes. Alternatively, you could use a color that has a slight tan or khaki feel to it, if you prefer, and then you will not be forced to shade these spots later on. The purity seals themselves are going to be done in a warlock purple. I think these are normally done in red, but I did not want it to detract from her sash by reusing that color. Plus, you're painting a female, and as we all know, chicks dig pink and purples. For the piece on her chest and the fleur-de-lis on her pack and gun, I'll be using a greedy gold. Moving on to the head, starting off giving the hair a base coat of ash gray. Now continuing with the hair, this time we're going to be using some spaceship exterior. Let's give our ladies some highlights. Remember to use a smaller brush here, and do remember to leave a fair amount of the gray showing. Mummy robes will be used on her face. Sorry, this is really out of focus here. But looking at the artwork, Tariana seems to have a very pale texture, or a very pale skin. And this color really brings out that aspect. Now I used a light tone thin down to shade the purity seals, the parchment, the leather, and the shoulder pads. Remember to be mindful and not allow any of this to pull up in any one area, as it can be hard to cover up later. Now going back to the red sash, this time with pure red, we'll start doing a light glaze to gradually bring out the red in only the areas where we really want it. At the same time, I'll take some red and dark tone and thin them down really well, and working on the shadows in an attempt to create a really good blend between the light and the dark areas. To highlight the red areas, I'll mix in a little bit of moon dust and focus on the edges of the folds and the bottom of her sash and sleeves. For the parchment on the purity seals, the shoulder sections on her armor, and the symbol on her holster, I'll reuse mummy robes. Going back over the leather sections as needed with fur brown, focusing on the edge and the flatter areas. I'll add some moon dust into the fur brown and do some edge highlighting to all the leather sections. The bolter gun was shaded using dark tone and highlighted using shining silver. The fleur-de-lis on the gun and her backpack also received a highlight with silver. Then the silver was used to highlight all the rivets on her armor and sash. To highlight the armor and the backpack, I mixed some deep blue into Necro Gray. Although Necro Gray is green, it reads as a lighter black color, and it also mixes well with the deep blue. Start highlighting all the hard edges of the backpack and the rounded sections on her armor. Add some uniform gray to the previous mix. By using previous colors with the gray, it helps to stop those harsh or chalky highlights while also adding just a little bit of desaturation to the previous color. Again, using the previous mixture of Necro Gold, Deep Blue, and Uniform Gray, add in a small amount of Spaceship Exterior for a final highlight. For the face, you're going to want to shade that with a flesh wash and then highlight again using mummy robes. You can shade the hair with a very thin down dark tone, but just do not splash it on. Aim for the breaks in the hairlines. After painting the flames on the base and adding your mini, remember to give her a varnish for protection. Sister Tariana Palos for Warhammer 40K. If you enjoy this video, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon or PayPal. And remember to like, subscribe, and share to be alerted for new content. As always, thank you for watching, and remember, if nothing else, paint something.